How are you guys? Good? Everybody's good? I love it. I'm very appreciative of your being here. Hi, hi, hi. I love you back.
So I'm Debra Birnbaum. I'm a contributing editor at Variety. Oh, do go on. So I was trying to figure out how to introduce you. So I found this great quote, which pretty much sums up your character. And, forgive me my dramatic reading here. I am the one who told him he was someone. I am the one who cheered him on and listened to him ramble about his hopes and dreams. I am the one who focused him. I did all the work. I did all the work, and now she gets to reap all the benefits? No, no, no. I made him. He exists because I say he exists. Ladies and gentlemen, the First Lady of the United States, I give you Mellie Grant.
Thanks, guys.
So first of all, congratulations on your Critics' Choice nomination.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. It means the absolute world to me. That was a phenomenal surprise and a crazy way to find out. So it was a great day.
How did you find out?
I had gone to KTLA, our local news, and they had asked me to read the nominations. And so I was happy enough to do that, And then Sam Rubin was like, did you do the math? There's only 5 names in one category. But it was really early, and I was nervous about mispronouncing anything, and I hadn't cottoned on. So it was great. Yeah, it was there. He had a different card. It had my name on it.
Did you get to keep the card?
Oh, are you kidding? Yeah, I totally kept the card. Totally forever kept the card.
So before we talk about Scandal, I want to talk about your career up to that point.
Okay.
You had such a long career of so many great TV shows. Which was your favorite up to that point?
I was really proud of the episode of ER that I did. It was a really long time ago, but I played like a med student and law student. She was doing it all or trying to do it all, not doing it well, and that was cutting to sort of keep balance in her life. And Laura Ennis had directed that episode, and she's a phenomenal director, and I learned a lot and loved that group of people. It was a good job.
You've also had such a varied career. You've done theater, musicals, comedy. What venue is your favorite?
I love it all, man. I really love it all. I feel so blessed to get to do what I do. You guys must feel the same. We're a lot of actors here, right? Right? You just want to tell a story. You want to use your heart and your mind and your spirit and your life and tell a story and hope that that story resonates with someone and that we can all grow, right? Because we get to grow in our work. And I know when I sit and I watch great writing, acting, production, I am edified and I am enlightened and I move forward a little bit. So to play a part in that chain, whether it's on stage or a big screen or a little screen, it's always an honor.
How did you get your first role?
Oh, golly. I was Gretel in The Sound of Music when I was like 5, It was in North Carolina. I'm adopted, and my mom who raised me, we got what turned out to be wrong information that my birth mom liked to sing. And so the mom who raised me tried to give me any opportunity to sing, and which I love dearly. I love her, and I love to sing. And so when I was 5, she found the Parkway Playhouse, and I got to be, Gretel and sing a little Edelweiss and do silliness. I still have panic nightmares because I didn't know what was going on. You usually really don't know what's going on, and but they'd always get me on stage at the right time. I remember loving it.
And then what would you consider your big break as an adult?
I really, truly. Doing Broadway was incredible, and there's nothing like living in New York. Anybody been in New York a long time? Yeah, what, New York? It's not like being in New York and working in New York, and that community is so supportive of each other, and the town is so supportive of theater, and so that was something to see your face go by on a bus in New York is like bananas. But golly, I worked a long time, and no one's ever come across the street to say, I like you on your show. So this has been like quantum leap next level.
So how did you get cast on Scandal?
like the day before the pilot. Linda Lowy, has anybody gone in for Linda Lowy? Yes, Linda Lowy. My role had maybe 2 lines, or maybe 3. One of them was live, and totally. And so she had called in like 5 of us, because she's a genius and she just sometimes in a pinch has to do it that way. I'm gonna pick, and we came in and we read for Shonda, and I'm not a good shopper. I'm a terrible shopper. And so I try to wear the same thing to auditions, especially if I get a call back. I'm like, well, I wore it once. But I had a really specific vision of what I wanted Mellie to be like. And Tony had directed me in an episode of Dirty Sexy Money. And so I so esteemed him in a very specific way. His mind is amazing. And so I had an idea of the woman I thought would be his partner. And so I went out the night before and got an outfit and like had a thing and said my 2 lines and was really lucky enough that they picked me because it's luck at that point. And then worked like the next day.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Did you have instant chemistry with Tony?
I adore him. I mean, we don't have to have the chemistry so much on my show. We have to have the angry chemistry.
That counts.
Like I say, when he had directed me, it had been a fun episode for me on Dirty Sexy Money, and so we'd sort of found we communicate well. And it's been every day of working with Tony Goldwyn. You guys go out and get yourselves directed by Tony Goldwyn because you'll never, he just the way he's so thorough to think everything through. You feel so safe as an actor, and he is absolutely allergic to dishonesty. So when you're sort of living in his eyes and you're just trying to put a moment across, he will make sure that everything is grounded and real and as moving as it can be. So yeah, I guess so. We had the chemistry.
And what was it like working with Shonda Rhimes?
A giant blessing. She is the Shakespeare of our time, and particularly for women. No one lets women be that complicated. And no one let everyone in the world, or tries to, see themselves on television. She casts souls and not faces or bodies or skin or anything like that. She casts souls, and she writes those souls complicated journeys, and she lets them mess up constantly and be like down on the floor and get themselves off the floor, and there's just nothing more fun to watch, and there's nothing more fun to do, and she does it all with such grace, also with 3 kids. She's a tremendous mom. She's an inspiration.
Mellie was originally supposed to be just a one-off or a couple of episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and then she became a recurring character.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of that is credit to you. How was that transition for you? How do you think that you made that happen?
I don't think I made it happen. I think they started writing and they could feel that Mellie is a great fulcrum point. She's a great lever. Yeah, when we got picked up for our first season, Shonda went around and told everybody what they were going to do, and she had said that I was just going to be there for 3 episodes. She wanted to write a presidential divorce, and I was so sad. But then they just started really letting Mellie be the wedge, and we just loved doing it. And so I don't know, really lightning striking. Very, very lucky.
You've brought so much to the character. I mean, it's not just being a wedge. It's you've brought so many dimensions to her as well.
Thank you, Deb. I try. I'm 40-something woman in Hollywood. I know how fortunate I am to have this opportunity. So I work hard. I see my coach, and I do everything that I can to show up full mind, heart, body, spirit on the day. Give it 1,000%, and I love it so much. So I hope, I think too that no one who's been in love hasn't felt unrequited, right, at some point. So I think it also is an incredible storyline, and that it really resonates with people, the pain underneath the anger. But but I work hard to show up for the chance that I have because I know that it is an incredible one. It's true. So true.
What do you think motivates Mellie? Is it ambition? Is it love? Is it unrequited love?
I think it's, a squirrel king of things right now. I think everything's sort of tied up together. But I think no one can keep that fueled. Things get very simple, right? At the base points. You're either fueled by love or hate. I really think so. I mean, passion is one of two things, and I just deeply feel that Mellie is completely motored on her love for him, and it's not sensible love. I don't think from here up, I think there's way too much anger and resentment and mistrust. But I think from here down, and you just can't help but love somebody, right? And I think that in her marrow, she can't stop herself from the way she acts because she's so consumed and driven with a love for him. And, they had this great life before this horrible moment that we've met them all in. They were super partners, so we find out they weren't having so much sex. Okay, so we find that out. But they were super partners and they were super parents. They're great at their jobs. So she has a lot to draw on in terms of a deep foundation with him. And then, you're never crazier when somebody you love is acting up. So now we just have met her in a very colorful time.
So we should talk about the episode that everyone just watched, which I think was a real turning point.
Yes. I didn't know anything about it, so I found out at the table read. I mean, I just sort of got the script. Yeah. Wow. We have these table reads. I'm sure everybody knows this. Like the day before we start shooting. So you all sit down, and it really makes you.
So how did you even prepare for it?
You leap. You leap. You meet it like you meet life, the best you can in the moment. I had a little more time to prep the flashback stuff because, frankly, we had to find the right wig. But we were shooting all the present moment,
Glad
right?
we have our priorities, right?
But we had to shoot the present stuff. But so the present stuff sort of started on its own momentum. And I saw my coach a lot for that, to deconstruct everything, take the stories apart so that the real-time arc was solid, the spine of the present-day story, and so that the spine of the flashback story was solid, and so that all those little points along, especially around the rape, were really grounded and natural and resonant for folks, because I think that's not a story that gets on screen a lot. We have the sort of sexualized rape on the occasion, used as a weapon, usually in movies, but the sort of in the family goes without saying, I lived through it and we're never going to speak about it again, which I think happens to folks. And that meant a lot to me to get to model that story for people and put a little light in that direction. So I wanted to make sure I took care of it well. And I fasted. When we did the flashback stuff, we only had one day to do all that flashback stuff. So I fasted and just made sure that it was all just real clear, real pure, just showing up for the work. And honestly, I had a ball. That sounds crazy, but come on, that episode, who gets Shonda Rhimes to write them terrificness, not only in the present day, but in the past? I loved every second. Is that weird?
I'll ask them. Was it weird?
Is that weird? Is that totally weird?
Why do you think Mellie never told him?
I think she tried to repeatedly. I think she did. But I think, my gosh, the shame, Oh, the shame. Oh, the crippling shame. To bring those words. And the impulse can be there, but because will he ever love you again? Will he ever trust you again? Will he blame you? Will he leave you? Will you lose everything? isn't it okay because you've already swallowed it once? Can't you just keep going one more day, then one more day, and then the next day? Like if you can just get through little increments. I think that seems like an easier thing than to have the whole world collapse when you say, your father raped me. That's big doing, right?
Right.
But I felt her struggle with it so often. But it just seems it's like Voldemort, right? It's like what you cannot say.
And realizing too that Jerry's now not his son.
I worried about that one, I'm not going to lie. I worried about that over the course of the season because I didn't know how that was going to turn out. And so I feel like I lived that with Mellie a little bit, and that it gnawed away at me. So I can't imagine for 15 years to have that horrible, every time you see your child's face, they have it be between you. And everybody's watched the season, right? I'm not going to tell anything.
I know,
weird.
spoiler alert.
I know,
I'm
right?
sorry,
Right.
spoiler alert, right?
And then she up and kills Jerry. That one almost killed me. That table read, really, honestly. So much went down in that table read. I get nervous now thinking about it. Sometimes I stutter when I get upset, so get ready for that. That table read really shook me. Because our episodes, they go so fast, right? And so much comes at you, and it's sort of, it can inure you a little bit. But those table reads are so immediate because we're all finding everything, and I can reach over. When Scott Foley, when they put him in the hole at the end of last season, at the end of the last table read, I was like, Scott. And he was like, it's not really about me. And I was like, I have to come back from it a little. I get very in it. But that killing Jerry was, yeah.
I'm shocked that that's when you find out.
We kind of love it now, perversely, because it does. The immediacy is so terrifying and invigorating. And we love that we don't just get handed a script and then everybody goes off to their room and they're like, bullshit. Oh, a scene with me in it. Okay. And they're like, we have to sit there and we listen and we live in each other's reality. And Shonda gets to see how it plays. This is how it all is. We sit in a quadrangle, and the writers and the producers are sort of in chairs around. This is writers, and then these are producers, rows of chairs. And then this side of the square is White House, and that side of the square is OPA. And it's interesting to see because Shonda always says, sit here, sit there. But so sometimes she'll be like, you go over there. And then woo.
You're in trouble.
And then this is all Betsy, Shonda, Tom Barrica, whatever. So they get to really hear it land for the first time, see what's working. It's always interesting to see what gets changed, cut after read-throughs. But it's oddly an incredibly condensed rehearsal period for a play. It's bless you. It's you're doing a play with the people that you grew up with. And so in that 1 hour, you push 6 weeks of rehearsal because you're just sort of dialed in. So it's really informative, really. It's a lot, it seems. Sorry. Oh, wow. These things are nervous-wracking.
Do you have any input at all into your character?
Shonda's very approachable in terms of questions and misgivings, should you ever have one, because she's Shonda Rhimes. But I'm thinking of the last episode, the last moment when Tony breaks down and he's on the seal, and he says, where's Olivia? And I'm supposed to call Olivia, and I was supposed to get up and call her from the phone on the desk. And I was like, Shonda, I really don't feel like I could leave him in that moment. Can I just use the Fitz phone? Little things like that. But we know the right person's in charge. So nobody's I think my character should join the circus and then come back. Nobody, I just can't.
I think you'd make a great acrobat.
I'm very bendy. Okay.
What's been the toughest scene for you to film?
I mean, I'm going to tell you, the rape was logistically a nightmare in addition to being like an assault on your psyche, because you know you have to, right? Your body doesn't know it's not happening. So it's a lot to carry around, but it's also, we were in a very narrow room. It was at the end of the one day that we'd shot all of that stuff in, so we're in like the 16th hour when we start the scene. And then the room is very narrow, so the camera options were slender, and Michael Cattleman had devised, we sort of had to do some from the over here and some from over here. It was just very technically delicate, and so had to be done a lot. And yeah, so it was assaulting, which is appropriate. And then I find this whole job, it's been a lot. My coach talks a lot about being in acceptance, that resistance is like your worst enemy, right? When you start resisting in your head, or you're like resisting in your car or wherever. And so in moments like that, I really try and be like, okay, well, all right, this is going to do some of the work for me, because this is awful. But, you know, staying focused through that. Bless Barry Bostwick's heart. Has anybody ever worked with Barry? He's like the best guy in the world, truly the best guy in the world. And so we took very good care of each other through it. But it's just a lot. And her last, Shonda's last edit is always sort of her last draft. So things were written a little differently, a little more specifically. Things had to happen that maybe didn't go by the censors. It was a hard day. It was a hard day, but you know, like I say, we're lucky to tell the tough stories, right? Just like we're lucky to tell the happy stories. But that was a really tough day.
Now I'm getting for close. Do you have a favorite episode?
Golly. I mean, I swear to God, every day that I go to work is my favorite day. I know it sounds ridiculous. I'm trying to think I mean, some of my favorite times have been when the few times that we're all together, because it's such a bifurcated experience. You know, OPA's do an OPA thing, and we're over in the White House. So, like, the most fun I can think of is when we all, or most of us, get to be in scenes together, because we're just so glad to see each other's face, you know, and really play, like be in the sandbox at the same time. And in terms of acting, the two scenes that come to mind that I loved so dearly, my mother somewhere is rolling her eyes at me, dearly. One we got the night before. Thank you, adverb humor. One we got the night before was the scene, it's me and Jeff and Kerry. Tony's prone in a coma in the hospital after he's been shot, and we're deciding that I'm going to sign to forge his signature. And we literally got it at midnight. We got an email from Shonda, and she's like, it's been bugging me. The scene has been bugging me. Do not be mad at me. I have rewritten the scene. And it was like 5 pages, and we were up first, but we were like, awesome, because the writing is so good. The emotional topography is so solid that it goes in your brain more easily. Like, you don't have to do all the dot connecting. It really is. So you just have to get it in there so that it's deep enough that you can forget it and you can just focus on whatever's happening in the moment. But so that one was a tightrope, but a ball. And then the bunker, in the first episode of this season, when it was me and Kerry and Tony in the bunker, because they were like little one-act plays, both of them. So they were joys.
They were pretty fantastic.
Well, thanks.
One of the things that strikes me too when you were talking about the cast being together is what a tight ensemble it is.
Yes.
I mean, you're all really close. It's a rare thing. I mean, no disparaging any other casts, but it is a really rare thing to see in Hollywood.
I feel like we are fathoms lucky. I don't know how it got so good, and I almost don't even want to ask because I'm just so grateful for it. But we have the deep and enduring love. We really do. And trust and respect. And nobody's a baby, so everybody knows, how fortunate we are and that moments like this are fleeting. And so you really have to show up for them and be grateful and do your work. And we also have the best crew in the world. It's just a really, come and join us, everybody, because it is a great set and you will have a great time. Like, not even lying, you'll have a great time. It's like being at home.
Any predictions for next season?
Ooh,
I love asking that question, and I love getting that answer.
I know, right? I wish I saw some of my castmates just this week, and we were, wondering if it even would start back. Those are cute. We were wondering if it even would start back like the moment after everybody was just like filleted, right? At the end of the season. And so will it start back like immediately, or will it come back like we skipped 10 months in the middle of a season one year, right? I mean, who even knows? I have no idea. I'm ripping out stitches. I have no idea.
What would you like to see from Mellie?
I almost don't even dare to hope things because Shonda concocts such more evolved stories than like writing is not my gift. That is not a gift I have. So I wish she would find, I wish she would battle her way towards a greater sense of peace in both her personal relationships and in terms of being able to use herself more fully. She's very frustrated professionally. So, I wish that Fitz would love her and she'd be president.
From your lips. Have you learned anything from Mellie?
I learned every day. I am plagued by self-doubt. I am a person who lives with self-doubt constantly, and she is so my way or the highway. And so to be like 17 hours, just like relentless, sort of like with a machete in the jungle, just like going forward. She has such a 1,000-yard stare. It's crazy empowering, It's interesting because I could never live with the interpersonal carnage. Like that would really weigh on me, but it doesn't at all, Mellie. No, she don't worry about it a bit. But it's so interesting. It's interesting, and also it's also interesting to live with someone who is so not allowing herself to be loved. I have great compassion for Mellie because it's a choice, right? At some point, it's a choice we all make to let ourselves be seen, to let ourselves be loved. And Mellie has sort of bonsai'd herself into this idea of propriety. And now we know, based on a lot of things that happen along the way, you make little tiny choices, and they just sort of turn the road. And it was so interesting to have John there this year. John Tenney, what, John Tenney? I know, right? To have him there and watch her try to let herself be loved by him, just adored, but he was just there to adore her, and she was like, "Oh." So that was interesting.
Do you think that love story's over?
I don't know. He's our vice president now, so I don't know. It depends on, I bet, what Mr. Tenney has in his professional careers these days. I don't know if he's available to us. That's a crazy thing, because people get jobs. Joe Morton has a job now, so it'll be interesting to see how much Papa Pope we get. Did you guys know that? Joe got a show, Proof. It's called Proof. TNT, I think, is right. Yeah. No, I didn't spoil anything. It was out there. I didn't tell anything.
Do you think their marriage can be saved?
I have to hope so. I think Mellie likes to think of Olivia as a short-term problem, right? That's, been going on for a minute, but she'll just ride it out. He'll get over it, and we'll go on to the next thing. But I may be quite wrong about that. I don't know that I think that. I think Mellie might be quite wrong about that. So, yeah. What do you think, Deb?
I wouldn't dare. I fear the wrath of Shonda.
No, this is all speculation. It's all good.
It's all good. Tell me about going to the White House Correspondents' dinner. What was that like?
It was crazy. Has anyone ever gotten to go to the White House Correspondents' dinner? Look, no, I don't know. Not yet. That's the right answer, right? Because a year ago, I was like, oh my God, Kerry Washington's at the White House Correspondents' dinner. Like, literally. It's crazy. Okay, they party in Washington. They party hard. Harder than I didn't have feeling in 3 of my toes until last week, and I am not exaggerating at all. But it was incredible because I think we all went thinking, well, we'll steal some stuff, right? We'll just, no, I don't mean like flatware. I don't mean flatware. I mean like behavior. We're in Washington, so we'll watch what people wear, and we'll see how people sit and like how they run around and do things. And they really watch the show. So there was no like sneaking in people watching. That plan failed. But I met the Obamas, and so that plan worked.
Did you get a photo with the First Lady? The First Lady with the First Lady?
Totally.
I love it.
I can remember none of it because I was in a complete brownout. But there's photo evidence, so I know that it happened.
Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Did you book her cameo?
I wish. They're like, are you available? If only. I couldn't think. I couldn't talk hardly. I just kept hugging her. I hugged her like a koala. I just kept like, that's all I could do. And the first thing, Michelle Obama. It's a room. There's like so you go. It's huge. White House Correspondents' dinner is huge. Deb and I have talked about this. It's like 3,500 people or something. It's like huge. But there's like, maybe they take 100 of you back in this little room and you get to meet them. And so we wait in line and we get up there. And so we're walking onto the sort of little space where they are. I'm starting to like brown out. And, but I hear Michelle Obama say to me, "Why did you kill your son?" And I think I don't And that was it. That was my whole experience. And I can't remember what happened next.
And then the Secret Service came.
They came, and they're like, maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
We're glad you made it back here.
Thank you.
And the other thing we should talk about, too, is how important social media is to the show. I mean, the show's really been at the forefront of driving social media to, engage fans and get involved in ratings.
Right.
And you guys seem to have a ball with it.
Okay, who tweets with us? Does anybody tweet with us? What? Yeah, I know, I see you guys. Yeah, all right, and I see you too. Yeah, all right, yeah, okay. It was Kerry's genius, and she got Shonda to ask us because she didn't want to be all bossy pants. And, but we wouldn't have had a show. We wouldn't have gotten a second season, Deb. We wouldn't have. So thank you. Thank you all. And we love it. It's like doing a play, It's like a 21st century theater because you're feeling the energy, right, of how things land. It's a conversation, and it blows my mind because I am such a Luddite. I mean, I'm pitiful. It took me forever to figure out how to get the pictures not sideways, right? And it was like, but people have been very patient with me. Kerry, there was a time when Kerry would like sit and have to help me write my tweets like a child. She had to teach Jeff Perry how to like write because he was shooting one night, and she was like, "You can write them in advance and save them and then send them out." And he was like, "I don't know, will you do that for me?" And like, yeah, we're like, we call him Magoo, but we're all Magoos in that regard, except for Kerry. She sees things, and Olivia Poped that stuff up. She got us all in shape, and she found the gladiator, she found the pulse of our show. So I love it. And if you knew me in electronics, that I am saying that is bananas. Crazy, but I live for it. I love it. I have to do it on 2 devices, though, because I can't move pages, or I will never find where I was again. So one stays on Ask Scandal, and one stays on, like, the where people are talking to me. So sad, but it's just true. But I don't care. I love it.
So I have some questions from the audience. Victor would like to know, what would you have done differently if you weren't an actress?
Who's Victor? Right here. Hey, Victor, what's going on? Oh, thank you very much. That is very kind. If I were not an actress, does that discount singer too? Because that would be second. All right. If I did not get to tell stories for a living, I would be running an animal rescue somewhere. I really, really would. I'd be in flannel all day and like covered in fur and trying to. Maybe I can't save the human lives, but I would save me some furry lives. We try. I'm not doing it. I don't get credit for it. I do what I can still, in this life. But yeah.
That reminds me, I wanted to ask you, any chance of you singing on Scandal? A nice karaoke session?
I know, right? I wish. Mellie could just get drunk and sing like,
exactly.
November Rain or something. Like, it would be epic. I don't know. Who knows?
Drop out of the shot of the suggester box.
She did that musical Grace, so
Right.
I don't know.
Musical Scandal.
Crossover.
Just saying, someone tweet her. Not me, not doing it. Someone else. All right, Colleen would like to know, what is one thing you know now about acting in the business that you wished you knew when you first started?
Where's Colleen? Oh, Colleen, hello.
See,
I've
clearly
been looking
it's
at
the
you
front
all
row.
night. I love it. I know. Very participatory.
Randomly selected questions, I swear.
Not to be so hard on myself. I am frequently merciless on my insides, and if I could have convinced myself earlier that the point is we're all special and unique, and the point is to just let that out, and there's no wrong way to do that except to truncate it, there's no wrong way to do that except to hide it. So if I could have known so early that, even we were talking about auditioning, like dressing for auditions, I used to try and dress sort of as anonymously as possible, which is not a true representation, right? Like if I had known to take my whole self in the room, then I think that might have saved me some heartache. But man, heartache teaches you a good lesson, so that's all right too. Thank you.
Jane Santos?
No way.
I swear, I honestly, I swear.
I
Randomly.
love it. I love it. I love it. Jane of the shoes.
How do you approach your character? Do you use any technique?
I'm lucky because it comes written so well. So the first step for me is I use the voice memo on my phone, and I read it like a robot into my voice memo, just like that's very fast because we have to speak at spandrel pace. And I read my lines, and I read their lines, and I take a walk, and I just try and get, I guess, the music of it in my brain. I also then record it as if I'm Jeff Perry, and I'm saying crazy things. And then I leave a blank space and for me to interact with. And so that's the sort of next step that I do. And hopefully I've had the luxury of doing that before I get to my coach, Lee Kilton Smith. If you ever want a great coach, oh my God, that woman changed my life. She gives an audition seminar twice a year that I'm not even joking, like changed my life. Sounds sort of naive to say, literally changed my life. Got Scandal because I got my head on straight. Then I go see my coach, and then I put on the wig. I'm not even kidding, I'm uncomfortable in that wig. So it does a lot of work for me sometimes. Lee Kilton Smith. She's terrific.
Keely? Someone not in the front row?
Yeah, I see you, Keely, representing the back of the room.
Thank you, Keely. Keely would like to know, what advice do you have for an actor landing an agent? How did you land your first agent?
Keely. I was in New York, and I had done a bunch of like showcases, which I know sounds crazy because I think people lose faith in them sometimes. But I met a couple of agents, and this was back in the day. This is a long time ago. So they sort of hip-pocketed me, and that it sort of started like that. and I'm trying to think, because the first agency that signed me was Gersh, and I was with them for 15 years until they dropped me. Whatever. Don't be disappointed. Like, if somebody drops you, it's all right. It'll all work out. And I can't. Hold on, because it was Nikki Evans. It's just, my brain is just a slow functioning machine. And Nikki I know exactly. I had done a workshop of something in New York, and he had come to see me. So this is New York information, so this is not especially helpful information, which makes me sad. I work every connection you know. Nowadays, everything is so different because it's the 21st century, so you can put stuff online, right? You can make incredible, like that great Ed Norton, that whole story about how Ed Norton got Primal Fear. He like made an audition tape for himself and sent it in, and like there's so much you can do. So get your online deliverables like gorgeous, and then be relentless. Be relentless. And I don't know if you write, but if you write, like make content for yourself, because content is king. And once you have like a solid kernel of a webisode idea, and somebody wants that property, then you're on a meteor. So I think, there might be not necessarily shortcuts, but faster routes nowadays, because technology has been very empowering. Actors don't just have to stand still and say words. You really can put yourself forward and become, brand you, and see who is drawn to that brand. I don't know. Maybe that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. All right. I'm trying.
Okay. Kimberly Skipper?
Kimberly, hello.
Hello. Kimberly would like to know, what action did you take that started the transition from being an aspiring artist to a steadily working one?
That's the right answer to that question. The short answer is I was lucky enough senior year of college I went spring break of senior year and auditioned for Actors Theater of Louisville, which has a great program, and also for the First National of Meet Me in St. Louis, which pays money. And so I took that job. And then I was in New York, though, so then it was reading backstage and going to equity open calls and just beating the street. It was old school. I feel like Methuselah. It was really old school, because back in the day, we did, you had to have your headshot and your resume stapled to the back, and then you'd line up on the street and on 46th Street, and maybe they'd let you in, and you'd sing 16 bars, and I just did the next job I could get. I'm fortunate because they came enough together that I worked 1 week on Wall Street. I temped down on Pearl Street, actually, and I have no discernible office skills, none. I have none. So that was a total failure. So this is like not even my backup job. This is the job I can do. This is what I've got. And so I just really, really kept hammering. I also love it so much. And I was fortunate because in New York, singing opens more avenues. And so I literally just kept at it. I don't know how you would start in LA, but I still think content is the key right now. If you have a great idea, you can find people to make it look gorgeous, and then someone will want to buy it and therefore buy you.
And then our last question is from Capri. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing
Oh my
it.
God, oh hello, it's lovely to meet you.
How has your experience on working one of the most diverse shows on TV affected your life off screen?
Do you mean ethnically diverse? Okay. I mean, I'm a theater girl, so I'm lucky to say that it just feels right and real. So it just makes me proud. That's how it's affected me. Makes me super, super proud to go to work where everybody can see themselves represented, and where the words coming out of people's mouths and hearts and being are flawed and full of effort and pathos and disappointment and hope and possibility and failure, where I can go to work and it's as much a struggle as an inspiration, and where it's not just a very narrow definition of that. It's everyone's, not everyone. We haven't, I suppose we haven't represented everyone. I shouldn't overstate, but we aspire to, and where when I feel that I am being a part of something that is really speaking a very base truth, everyone's human truth, but also everyone's special truth, it makes me exceedingly proud. That's it. Oh, I got a thing. I don't know.
Well, I can't think of a better note to end on. So with that, I'll just simply say, Mellie Grant for president.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you all so much for coming tonight.